All right, there we go. Welcome to Field Service Office Hours. My name is Leigh-Anne Nugent. I am joined with Lisa Magcale, who is my co-host and moderator today. We've got some of the old band members back in action. Good to see you, Bruce. Back in 2018, we were one of the first participants to benefit from these office hours. Great to see you. And Peter and Akshay, thank you so much for joining today. We are so glad that we can bring this band back together. Just some housekeeping rules. We are here to just work together, right? It's not necessarily a bash the product kind of environment, although sometimes we will ask, why? Why is it like that? What we're here to do is find ways around. So we're here to help raise awareness on how it was designed, why it was designed that way, and support each other in some of the implementations that we are embarking on, while also sharing some of the new things that are coming up. So I'm on the field service office hours and not office hours. That's what this is, the partner advisory board. And I got some insight on a couple of new features that I thought I would just uplift and share with the masses. So that's what it's about. If you have any questions, definitely bring them here. We're here as your thought partners. But the idea is what we want to know too is what your experience was. Like, what did you try? What were you expecting? And what did you actually experience so that we can get a better understanding of how the tool worked? What are you actually trying to build? And what are we looking to accomplish? And either we find the out of the box way to do things or find a more appropriate solution, leveraging the platform tools we have at our disposal with Salesforce. So I was going to use this platform for every week for the next 2 months to just walk through everything field service. So from standing it up all the way to through all of the new features and capabilities at each stage of the implementation. And then we would take in some questions and answers. At the end of the session, I really would love your feedback. Is this worthwhile? Would you show up every week? Would you want it to keep going beyond the 2 months? And and what that community could possibly look like. There's Service Blazer Slack community. Do you guys know about it? It's something that Salesforce put together. It is Slack. It's not the same as the Salesforce community. So there's not really very many product related people that could be monitoring that space. But anyways, there's that community. And then of course we know the Trailblazer community too. So those are ways. Scott, you've been using it. Oh yes, you have totally been using it. Thank you for joining. So I know Scott through that community. Welcome. So here we are. I wanted to walk through some of the newest features and capabilities that Field Service released. One of them was getting started. So let me just share this screen. For those who have been implementing Field Service, does this checklist look familiar to you? I feel like this has been a checklist that has been circulated around the group since, 2018. Now, because we've got this checklist, I was able to stand up a field service environment in 60 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this every single time. Every new org that I get, I'm just going to stand up field service and then use the baseline build to then run my discovery workshops. Because I found that the learning curve has been so steep for new customers using field service. They either came from another FSM or they came from spreadsheets or Outlook and they've got their own process and their own way of doing things. So seeing Salesforce Field Service for the very first time is like drinking from a fire hose. So I've always found that if I do a screen sharing demo of what a baseline field service, like this is how you schedule these, this is a work order, and this is the service appointment. We can't have only one. You gotta have both, right? Like getting them used to those nuances about field service, the data model, and then the experiences. All they're doing, being the customer, is just thinking about how do they want to, actually design their scheduling experience. So when I worked at Salesforce, we knew that this was a challenge. Time to value was a project that we worked on, and it was a couple of years of an initiative, but we didn't have any resources on the product side to productize any of these things. So what came out of it was just reviewing this checklist. There was like a scheduling workshop presentation that was released, and I don't know how far it went because I got chopped and then disbanded. But if you haven't seen that workbook, let me know because I mean, sharing is caring. So throw it in the chat and let me know if you've seen this checklist, if you've seen the workbook. Happy to share those resources with you if you're curious about it. But the goal of these two artifacts was to really flatten the curve from enabling field service to scheduling your first equipment. That was the first metric we wanted to see. Well, last year, I met with Shilpa Ramaswamy and at Field Service USA, and she shared that there's a new setup menu for field service. And I was so excited. I got a chance to speak to some of their product managers to walk them through what the checklist was. And they interviewed a lot of implementers. So thank you to all of the partners that contributed to this, because now when you go to Salesforce Field Service and turn it on, you get this really cool banner now, and you go to set up home. And now we've got this set up the basics. Oh, this is just a cute video that they have. Let's view the steps. So what I did here was I grabbed this list and I compared it. This is their list. And then right to my list, the checklist that we had going. A lot of these steps are totally taken care of. And what's great is that now we don't have to really do a lot of these things. You basically just, and it's kind of like the Martha Stewart baking channel where I set it and then it's running. It takes about half an hour to an hour to run. So it literally will run for you. So what I would recommend if you wanted to play with it is go to the customize. This is the supercharged field service dispatcher console for admins. Go to this trailhead. I'm going to paste the link here and spin up a new field service org, and you'll get a chance to see what these settings look like. And I basically couldn't believe it. I just turned it on and I ticked all these boxes. And in the back end, it was creating all of these things for me. One thing that I didn't realize it was going to do for me was set up the permissions and the permission set group. So it created a profile and it created permission set groups. So I thought that was pretty cool because I totally went in and did my usual thing where it's like, oh, I got to set up my tech and I might as well create a new profile. So I created a new profile and totally didn't need to do that. So I had to delete it. So the field service technician profile gets created. Where I'm at now. Oh, hey, Derek, welcome. So the fact that we've got this profile here is just totally awesome. And then we even have, I think what they even added was a dispatcher one. Yeah. So we've got two profiles. We've got permission set groups and oh, it's just the admin group that they created. Interesting. Okay. Let's go back to field service settings. I thought that this says that it would be dispatcher and technician permission set groups, but I'm actually only seeing the one. Maybe it's because it's recently viewed. That's why. Don't you just love that? So, a good question. Thank you, Bruce. So, here's where I'm at right now. The only packages that it installed for me was the mobile connected app and the netbook installed packages and just field service. But the starter kit, no. Good question. And then another discussion that we should have is the starter kit has process builders in it. And I started to create a GitHub that uses flows. So within this 2-month time frame, so that's why I didn't install it, because I was like, well, what would it look like if I installed what I created and that's on my GitHub and I installed it here? Like, would it work? So I kind of wanted to use this as a testing ground to see if that GitHub code base works. Because if it doesn't, then I won't tell you about it. But if it does, then I'll tell everybody about it. Okay. So yeah, where I was in this process was the next step that they have is that it can create the data. So I wanted to do that with you all. I was thinking, again, be like Martha Stewart and just do it in advance and show you what the like finished cake looked like, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So let's go back to the field service setup home and let's look at these steps and let's look at what this get ready for scheduling looks like. So when I saw this, I was like, that's interesting that we can have just create the actual work type records here. And then like creating the technicians and dispatchers, like you could actually go through the whole thing just in this setup. So no more like the package that we have here was like, we would go through all the field service tabs and we would be creating all of the records. Wait, where's it? Right here, right? We have all of the reference data. I would go to the setup admin page and I would literally go through each one of these tabs and just be like, okay, now I got to create a territory. And now I got to create my operating hours and then link it to the territory, right? Like this was one part of the setup process to just go through these tabs, but we don't have to do that anymore. We just have to go here. So let's just do the standard install. And we'll just say it's 1 hour. I did create some skills. And can I just like, okay, save. Interesting. I'd have to click new work type for a new one. And it'll be 1 hour. Actually, maybe installations take longer than that. Let's make this 4 hours.
Leigh-Anne,
Okay,
while
let's
you're
look at
tinkering with that, I want to give voice
Mhm.
to one of Bruce's question. Does it
Oh,
take
great.
the correct page layouts?
Okay, good question. Because it's supposed to create the page layouts, but let's see if we got the page layouts assigned. Oh, Leigh-Anne. So, okay, this is a good thing. Not only did it bring over obviously the package one, but it cloned it because we all know you can't migrate these in a change set. This one that's part of the managed package. So this is the one that gets cloned and the intended page layout to use. Now let's check the assignments. Likely we would have to do this. Yeah, we still have to do this. So let's go back to my checklist here. If we think about like other platform settings that we might have to do, so speed tracking still needed to be enabled on the service appointment. Data integration rules. Remember how we had to do this? This is always false now. So we don't really need this anymore. I still needed to modify any Lightning apps for each one of these personas. I also needed to configure timesheet auto creation, create skills, and then any sharing requirements. So that's a good point. The page layouts, where did I have page layouts here? So it updates it, but it doesn't. Yeah, so I have to uncolor this one. So thank you for noticing that because it creates it. but it doesn't assign it. And so I want to take this away because the cloning was something that we didn't even really consider. Like, I don't know, Bruce, like, I feel like when did we discover that? Was I at Rafter One, or did you know that from time and I only just joined the party?
That's probably just a you thing. I'm just
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So I didn't know that. And so that technically should have been on the checklist. Okay. So yes, this all still would need to be done. And all of these would still need to be done manually. Okay, so back on this one. Any other questions? Like, jump in. This is totally informal. Okay, so I saved this. All right, that's it. So now I've got work types. But what's interesting, if I wanted to view more customizations, of course I can pop this out and see all the other things. Actually, did the due date offset get included here? Yeah. Okay. So that's what's missing on this view. They didn't include the due date offset. I think that was it. And I guess exact appointments. That's missing here. So I
And
guess the
maybe
question, yeah,
and maybe if
yeah,
you wanted to tailor skill levels, you're left to do that
true.
yourself.
Yeah, that looks like that too. Yeah. And what's interesting, I can't like if I can still create it and I can still see it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So the level, the skill I have it, you have it, yes or no. And like the time phase too wouldn't be here. So we would have to see that in here. Yeah. So as we go through this, and what I was thinking was, is this actually saving me time setting it up? It just, I mean, I feel like if I was a new implementer, probably yes. But with us who have been like, we've stood up how many orgs from beginning to end, like the first like set of steps, we've pretty much mastered, I feel. Let's just do, I don't know, San Francisco because that's usually the case. Like 250 mission is usually my default. And then the creation of operating hours looks like this now. And I thought this was pretty friendly. I think I gotta go this way. No, I gotta go this way. And then the other piece, no polygons in this. We'll create a new territory for. Okay. And then I guess we've got the same thing pop out to the object or to the record, not just the object, that record to add other things. Ooh, what's travel buffer? Did this get added in winter? Who's seen this? Who's used this? Or spring? Is this for travel modes? Interesting. Okay. So something to see. But And I feel like this was something that we always considered too, because like the time to park or the time to walk from parking lot to whatever, and or like the gate is like in one area, but then you got to drive to like the warehouse back loading dock or whatever it is. Like there are some buffers, but yeah, like
It seems wild to me that it's at the territory level, though. Like everywhere, like let's say parking is on the east side of Toronto, something right next to that, the travel time from parking is short. If it's
yeah,
very far from there, it will be longer. I mean, it,
right.
yeah, it seems like something that might belong at the location level. But
Mm. Well, that's another conversation. But I sure wish locations did more for us. Right. Okay. So we've got territories. Um, save and close. What's next? Okay. Add service resources. Okay. Oh no, I don't have a service resource because I just have a user. So my user is test tech, which is also interesting. You can create a user here if you wanted to. Pretty cool, I thought. And you're like in this view, you're creating the service resource and the service resource territory number. So kind of a cool thing, and assigning all the skills in one place. You're doing both. I only have one license. So I'm only going to create one user. We won't be able
what,
to test optimization here. Yeah.
why is the label required skill? A resource doesn't have a required skill. Resources have skill.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Good one. Let's have her. Hmm.
I think it's just a label
Yeah.
thing in this UI.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like required skills are really for the work order, isn't
Mhm.
it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, opinion wise, like you were saying, for someone who's just like, what is the burn down list? What is your distance to goal in getting this all set up? It finally sort of puts it all in one place. But if
Yeah.
you sort of built up your muscle over weeks and months ago, every time I set up a work type, I have a custom field called category or something like that. Boy, I wish I could fill that in this UI. I don't think they let you
Mm.
tailor it like that, put my customizations in with it. It's just all out of the box stuff that appears here where you're showing. So yeah,
Yeah.
so someone new getting into it, what is the iceberg I'm looking at? But
Yep.
yeah, to say it's 100% useful for everyone who's at every stage of needing to set this up. If you've got standards that you apply over top of it, you'd have to come back in and do those things.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So what I was very curious about this one. What I want to know is, does it create a service resource as a dispatcher, or only does it assign the perms? So I do want to validate that. I really want to see that. Sweet. Okay, good. It didn't create a service resource. Because really, I don't need a service resource for that. So let me just validate the users. Test tech has a permission set group, service resource for field service. I've got my licenses. Sweet. So then the other piece is, if we do have field service plus licenses, what if I had to assign the dispatcher license to this technician because they're a field service plus person and they can be both a dispatcher and a technician? Um, that would just be another thing that we would just have to know as implementers to say, okay, I have to go back into it and also what would you do? Like, would we assign the other permission set group to the technician? Probably the two groups, right?
Yeah.
If you're a
wouldn't you have to?
dispatcher and yeah. Yeah.
And I wonder, are these perm set groups managed? Like you can add new sets to the groups, I hope. And those you could deploy, I hope.
I believe because these are not part of a package, they're deployable, is what my understanding is. Modifying them. All right. So I made it to the bottom of the list, right? Okay. Bottom of the list. We're good. Okay. So the other piece they have is feature sets. So the dream is to go through each one of these feature sets and actually be able to configure them in here. But for now, this is just a placeholder to say, hey, implementer or customer, don't forget, you got all these cool features that satisfy the job to be done, boosting mobile worker efficiency.
You're saying this screen documents what those things are in a healthy order to bite them off in, but it doesn't do the thing like the screens you were just on.
Exactly. Correct. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember, we had there was like a learning path before where like, depending on where you were in the implementation phase. So this is another way of slicing that same apple or whatever you want to analogy you want to use, to just make it more aligned to feature capability. So asset performance, all the things that we can do for asset management, inventory, just here's the documentation for that capability. But the overarching goal, like when the product team, when they were putting this together, the basics is we just want to get to scheduling an appointment. So the goal is now as I'm getting ready to prepare for my demos and my discoveries, I should be able to go to field service. I don't know if this is really going to work or not. We're about to find out. Create a work order. In Toronto, install. I'm going to just use this because it's in my saved. And let's see. Oh, I totally don't even have actions, do I? Oh my God, I do. Look at that. Couldn't find it. Does that mean it created it, you think? Let's see. Let's find out. Yes. Interesting. I don't know what bug that is. Let me refresh and see what happens. I feel like it's the very first one. So let's just give it a second and see if it's. No, yeah, see, it created it. It
Yeah.
actually. Oh, because you know why? It already pre-created it.
From the
So
work
let's
type.
just get an appointment. Exactly. Okay, let's just try it again. Yeah, couldn't find it.
So could it be like, I don't know if you're a system admin, you can view all, modify all, but could it be that you as a dispatcher aren't in the service territory group? You don't have a user territory membership
I
or
don't.
something
You're right
configured like
because
that?
right. Because according to this, I haven't done my where's my sharing stuff? Yeah, I haven't done any of the sharing requirements. So let's see. I didn't go through that stuff. But that's so again, time to value. If I was to go, if the promise is go through this checklist and you should be able to book appointment. I didn't get a chance to do that. Let's just see though. There could be a blank. Where are you? Work order. Okay, so
Yeah.
work
So
type is private.
are you
Work
also
order's
saying in
private.
this org, other than enable FSL, which you did in setup, you haven't been in field service settings at all in this org?
No, not
So
at all.
like updating the perm sets, any of that sort of turn the lights on stuff.
Yeah.
Not there, but the app field service settings. Like you
No, I didn't go in here yet.
never once touched any of that. So I don't know if the getting started part of that
Yeah.
isn't.
And like all those other perms too, right?
Yeah.
So let's go here. Yeah, didn't go through any of these yet.
Maybe it somehow presupposes it for you, but yeah, see if these, I just a guess, but if these aren't updated, maybe you have it,
Maybe
but
that's the
it's
thing.
not complete somehow. Yeah.
Okay, so let's run through that. And then again, as we go through, like, well, what is the new through setup list? Right? Like, I still will likely need to go through these managed practice settings because I thought that all of the permission sets would have been totally taken care of here, but maybe again, like we'd have to validate that. But right off the bat, I thought that I would just be able to just book appointment after doing all of those setup things. But it does sound like to me that maybe it is a sharing thing. But I'm a system administrator. You usually turn this off, but I want to just go through. I don't need to do anything for derivations. Like what more really would I need to set up if I just want to just see what book appointment looks like?
So, I mean, could it be what policy? I know that wouldn't have to do with why you can't find that record, but if there's something about default settings here that say what policy to use, and if that policy is saying, for example, like match territories, and if it didn't get geocoded, maybe it's choking because there's no territory assigned. I'd say there would still be some stuff to eyeball, like does customer first make sense the way it is?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any goofy data on the work rules which don't 100% explain why that action can't find that SAID? Turn it off, turn it on again.
Exactly. Probably. The answer is yes. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
I
the
wonder
work
if I
order.
can just like book appointment from here.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the SA. It has the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just see. Yeah. So from the essay work, so it could be a derivations thing. I don't know. Let's see if it actually books. Perfect. Okay. So it did it. It did the thing. Yeah. It assigned it to test tech. Sweet. Okay. So something tells me it's either one of two things. One, it's a me thing, and I had to wait a little bit, or it's a derivation thing. And there's like just something about scheduling from the parent record right now. Like, I don't know what it is, but I would have to dig in and see. Um, let's just see. Are you going to find me? Yeah. Like what? It just needed to get warmed up? Maybe.
Or it could have been those perm sets if you ticked on them.
I didn't change the perm sets.
Oh, okay.
Right. Right. So I guess expectation. Let's just go back. If we go through all the fields. Oh, okay. So I guess maybe it's possible. Right. I did change this. So now this is Eastern time. So let's just cancel this and change this back to gold and see if that changed anything. But the other thing that I did was I did all the perms. So maybe there was something related to the permission sets. But again, the bottom line is the promise is these field service settings home, if we go through these steps, all of these steps, we should be able to use the global action to book an appointment. Like only these, not even those field service settings. Although maybe we could argue, go through here and just make sure all the permission sets are up to date. So I'm going to just hit that.
Yeah. And you might
Copy
extend
this.
that to the things that are under derivations to your point. If there's something you expect to come out the other side, or the default
Mhm.
op hours or policy to use when booking appointments, if that wasn't the thing that it chose by default, you might want to tailor it.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's, oh, I should probably move this in here because this is manage package settings. So we'll go down there. And then maybe the update the page layout is actually a platform thing. So I'm going to just smush it there. So if I was to release a new checklist on, here's your new org, go through all these settings, you still need to go through all of this. You still need to update your territories. And then like in all of my orgs, I always just like install starter kit because in my discoveries, I want to go through, okay, so you book it. And now that you've booked that appointment, I want some baseline status transition flows in the app to begin with. So that's why I like the starter kit. I always love to implement that. So what my goal is this week is to play around with my like the GitHub and install the starter kit settings from there. And if it works, great. I'll show it off next Tuesday. And if not, I'm going to just do the old way and just refactor all of the flows like in this, or just so that we can see it. My goal here is to get through end to end next week. What I also want to talk about is data capture. It is available and it's the new cool flow tool that we can use to collect information while out in the field. So I wanted to walk through that with you all next week. And really the goal is it's new. So what is the safest way to try it out, implement it? If we do implement something and it goes production ready, like what will be safe? I don't want to like, build something that is like so totally new and then end up, yeah, causing more harm than good. So that's the goal for next week. I do have a YouTube channel now, and you'll see on there is like you'll see me actually going through the like initial setup of wherever the thing was. So I'll paste that YouTube channel here. Where is that? Yes, exactly. Just turn the lights on. Let's turn on data capture and just try it on. Yep. So I don't really have a lot there, but we'll slowly start adding to it as we go. So hold on 1 second. I have to switch my account. Good Lord. There we go. And I'll paste it in the chat here. To everyone. Okay, there we go. So we've got 2 videos here, 2 playlists. Like I've got this Tinker Club too, where we're like playing with other things. So one of my friends and I, Micah, were like tinkering with other tools. And then here's Salesforce Field Service. So we've got a playlist here. So all of the recordings will be here, and like anything else that I tinker with, I'm going to just throw on there so that you all can see it. And that's kind of it for now. So anybody want to ask any questions or chime in or whatever, open floor.
Thank you for getting the band back together.
Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, let me know. If in the meantime, I'm just going to set up my service resource. If you want to hang out for like another 5 minutes, where's my? Yeah, there you are. So I totally tried to set up my service resource and then totally realized, oh, I didn't assign the perms yet. So I'm going to have to like, um,
That was great. Thank you for sharing.
oh, thanks, Scott. You're very welcome. I feel like because I did that, I bricked my app. So I have to like shut it down, delete it, and reinstall it. So that's going to be fun. I saw something in the community the other day where like new changes to the mobile app, there was a delay. And like have you all seen that? Because I haven't pushed anything to this org yet. So I'm going to test that out this week.
So what do you mean a delay?
Like they say that no matter what you do, like clear cache metadata, log out, log back in, uninstall, reinstall, like the changes don't get pulled through.
Yeah. So the thing I noticed the most about the very latest version of the mobile app is the reminder to click close is back.
Yeah.
So I think that was always sort of a phantom that maybe you didn't need it or they matured in some way. Uh, yes, I guess to your point, the other thing that I noticed I told you is whenever you make a record out on mobile, instead of, and I'll use like a product consumed record. So instead of it being like PC-001, it'll say new product consumed record. And it'll say that just kind of hanging out that way for a while. Like maybe pet the app. There's no blocked upload. There's no error, no badge on the profile showing anything is taking longer than usual. But it may take some action by the user to actually look like it looks on the platform or reach the platform with that PC number. To your point about if you make changes to the layout or the object themselves, do you have to log all the way back out? Stand on your head with ice chips in your mouth. I believe it. I haven't seen it just with the very latest app version though.
Is there anybody building anything? Oh, right. It's the wrong username. Building anything cool right now that's, any Agentforce stuff, any data cloud stuff?
Our org is in build. And so one of the cool things the guys are doing at the moment is replacing some of the Gantt charts with flows. So overriding the Visualforce page doing status updates through a screen flow.
So meaning that you are, okay, hold on, let's just see.
So creating custom actions that are screen flows.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that in this org or this org. Let's see if I have it on this org. We love those. And you're wrapping it with
Mm.
Visual Force. Is that your way of doing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a Visual Force page wrapping it and
Yeah.
changing the status, the change status button to be a more intelligent button, so that we can
Yeah.
say, like, if you cancel a service appointment, so that we can work out why you cancelled it and can ask that question from
Yeah.
the Gantt chart rather than just have it be closed and have no reason.
I like that. I had one customer that wanted that too. Our favorite one is cloning the service appointment. And it, oh, no technicians were found. Okay. Well, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know I built that. But yeah, like that's totally something that we really liked. And then another one that we were looking at too was giving the ability to do like change territories. So like create a resource territory, resource relocation territory member to go to another territory. If there's like nothing to do in this territory, but there's so much to do in that territory, then move them to the next one. I feel like that would be a really cool, like, I don't want to have to do it myself. Like I would love Agent Force to do that for me.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So I don't have one built here, but the clone one for sure. Yeah, like has anybody heard about like the new dispatcher console? Like that's supposed to be getting demoed. We should be a little bit closer because I think that's on the roadmap to get released soon, where it'd be more modular, be Lightning Web Components. So it'd be interesting to see like all of these flows that you're building here. What's going to happen to all of your custom actions when you move to the dispatcher console, the new one, at least.
I think if you're in flow, it should be a natural migration. Just yeah, you would hope.
That's the hope. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, so I would make sure as we're, getting all these new features and when they get the demos, that's definitely something that I want to know is how our custom actions going to continue to be supported. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for chiming in. All right. Well, I want to be respectful of everybody's time and give you all a few minutes to pivot before your next meeting. I want to thank you all very much for joining Field Service Office Hours. I will send you a survey to ask you how today was and if you'd like to keep hanging out and what you'd like these sessions to look like more. So thanks again for coming back and we'll see you again. Have a great day.